Okay, what's going on? In this assignment, I'm going to go over 7 examples, and on the second page of the document, you have very similar problems to do as the assignment. So on numbers 1 through 3, and you've seen me, if you've seen me do all these problems before, it's just putting them all kind of on the same assignment, 7 of them. So it's not insane. Graph the following equations by identifying the slope and the y-intercept. So that's 1 through 3. So our first equation, y equals negative 2x plus 6. So I'm going to make my coordinate plane. And the first thing I need to do, I'm going to make kind of a wall on this side. Is the y all by itself? The answer is yes, the y is by itself. So I can label my m and my b. Okay, y equals mx plus b. So I have my slope and my y-intercept right there for me. So my slope is negative 2. And my y-intercept's plus 6. Now remember, our slope needs to be a fraction. So to make it a fraction, you just, if it's not a fraction and you need it to be a fraction, you always use a 1. Okay. So I go up to positive 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't have to be beautiful. Okay. And then from that point, I go forward 1, but while I'm doing that, I go down 2. So I go down 2, forward 1. Okay, just somewhere there. Okay, make your line, and there it is. Okay, number 2. Negative 4x plus 3y equals 24. Now this one's going to be a little bit more work, because when I make my wall, the y is not by itself, so I can't do my MB until the y is by itself. Okay, so I would circle the 3y, the y along with what's multiplied by it. And we need to either add or subtract the minus 4x. Well, if it's minus, we would want to add it. But then I need to make a 0x over here, so I have a place where I can plus 4x, because I can't add it to 24. 24 doesn't have an x. So you need to line up your equation. You have 3y. Do your x first. 0 plus 4 is 4x, and then plus your 24. Now you divide everything in this, every number in here by the 3, because you need to get rid of that. So y equals, so I take 4 divided by 3. Okay, that's a decimal, so we don't want decimals when we're graphing, so we just keep it 4 over 3x. And then I take 24 divided by 3. That's not a decimal, so I write 8 down. And now the y is by itself, so I have my m and I have my b. So I know my slope and I know my y-intercept. So my slope is 4 over 3, nice fraction, and then plus 8 is the y-intercept. Okay. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, make a point. Then I go forward 3, and 4 is positive, so I'll be going up. Okay, so up 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, this, I know it looks like crap, and then over 1. Don't make a point right there. I know that looks crappy, but just get it. Yeah, you get the idea. Okay. Number 3, we have negative 2x plus 4y equals negative 12. Okay, well again, we have that problem where I don't have the y by itself, so I'm going to circle the 4y, okay? And I got minus 2x, so I have to plus 2x. I put a 0x over there, and I'll add 2x right there. So line up your equals. You have 4y. 0 plus 2 is 2x, and then minus 12 because it's negative. Okay, so then I divide everything then by the 4. Okay, now again, 2 divided by 4 is a decimal, so I'm going to keep that 2 over 4x. And then 12 divided by 3 is 4, so I put minus 4. So I have m and b. So slope, y-intercept. So the slope is 2/4, and then minus 4 is the y-intercept. So now the y-intercept, we got to go below the middle. So minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, make a point. Then we go forward 4, but we go up 2. So up 1, 2, forward 4 is just right there about. Okay. Okay, and that's the graphing part of it. Okay, now number 4. Write an equation of a line that has a slope of -2 passing through the point 9, -3. Remember, in this equation we're going to write when x is 9, y has to be -3. Also need a slope of -2. So to line up the equation, you put equals, you put y by itself, and then blank x plus blank. This is m, this is b. So I got to know the m and I got to know the b. Well, the m I know. If I know the slope, I know the m. So -2 is my m. Let's put it on here, it's easier. Okay. Okay, so not hard to get the m on that problem. Then b, you write y equals m times x plus b. Now I cross everything out but the b. Now the m is a -2, okay? And then for y, we're going to use -3, and then for x, we put times 9. So line up your equals, you have -3. Put your b first, and then you're going to take -2 times 9, which is -18, so put -18. And then the opposite of -18 is +18. So -3 plus 18 is 15. Okay, so that's the answer right there. Y equals -2x plus 15. Okay, number 5. Write an equation of a line that passes through 3, -2, and 6, 1. So in my equation that I'm going to write just like I did here, when x is 3, y has to be -2, and also when x is 6, y has to be 1. Now I line it up the same way. Y equals blank x plus blank m b. Okay. But unlike here where they gave us our slope, they didn't tell me the slope here. So when I don't know the slope, it's y minus y divided by x minus x. Okay. Alright, so line that up. So the y, I'll start with this one. I'll put 1 to the top, 6 to the bottom. And then -2 to the top, 3 to the bottom. One thing with that minus and then a negative right after it, that's plus plus. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 6 minus 3 is 3, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, so I have a slope of 1. Okay, and then b, y equals m times x plus b. So I know that my m is 1. Now for y and x, you can use this or this. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to put 1 and then times 6. So line up your equals. You got 1. Put your b first. 1 times 6 is 6. It's positive, so write plus 6. The opposite of plus 6 is minus 6. So 1 minus 6 is -5. So that's the answer. Y equals 1x plus -5. Okay, now I got a couple story problems now. The temperature at sunrise is 65 degrees. The temperature rises at 5 degrees per hour. How many hours will it take the temperature to reach 90 degrees? So I put hours equals, and I use my graphic organizers. So I've got degrees and hours. So x is hours, y is degrees. Remember, x is always your time, okay? Then per, remember, always put your x label below the word per and your y label on top. Now I know my degrees per hour is 5, so 5x, so I know my slope is 5, so I construct my line. And I put that 5x over here. Now before the 5 degrees per hour it was 65 degrees, so at the beginning you had 65 plus 5x equals y. So write your equation, you have 65 plus 5x equals y. Then we need to put the 90 degrees in for one of the letters. Now degrees is y. Okay, so we put 90 in for y, not for x, for y. So 65 plus 5x equals 90. And we solve for x. So we have a plus 65, so I would, and a times 5. Okay, so I minus 65. 90 minus 65 is 25, and we have 5 dot x. Then I divide by 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5, so that's your answer, 5 hours. Okay, and then number 7. This one's a tough one. A hot air balloon descends in a linear path. After 10 seconds, the balloon is 640 meters above the ground. After 30 seconds, it is 590 meters above the ground. How many seconds will it take the balloon to descend from its initial altitude to the ground? That means 0 meters. Okay, you're finding the number of seconds. Okay. Okay, so I make my first box in the corner. I've got meters and seconds as my units. And the time unit is always your x. Okay. And then per, meters per second. Now, unlike the last problem where we knew what to put there, we don't have the meters per second. So what we need to do is make a table up here, label it x, y, and put your seconds label over the x and meters over the y. So seconds and meters. First off, make a block up there, and you're going to put 0 here. Don't put anything in there yet, okay? And what do you know? Well, you know at 10 seconds, it's 640 meters. You also know at 30 seconds, it's 590 meters. So if I have to find the meters per second, I apply the y minus y over x minus x, just like I do when I don't know the slope. Okay, so I'll start here with this, 590 to the top, 30 to the bottom, 640 to the top, 10 to the bottom. So 590 minus 640 is negative 50, and 30 minus 10 is 20. So just divide negative 50 by 20, and then now you have something to put there. Negative 2.5x, okay? Then come over here and make your line. We have our slope, it's negative 2.5x. But we don't know what goes at the beginning. You know why? Because we don't have a number that's right there. Okay, so that is when you use the y equals m times x plus b. So m is negative 2.5. Now go look at your table, and we'll put 590 for the y, and we'll put 30 for the x. Okay, so you got 590, put your b down just like always. And then I take negative 2.5 times 30, and I got negative 75, so it would be minus 75. And the opposite of minus 75 is plus 75. So 590 plus 75 is 665, and now you have a B. Okay. Now everything's good. Okay. So again, when we don't know what to put there, we make a table. X, Y, put the time, that, and then just line up the numbers. 10. You don't. Yeah. And then y minus yx minus x, we'll find what this is using these sets of numbers here. And then to find what goes at the beginning, okay, you use y equals m times x plus b. Okay, now I have my equation. I have 665 plus negative 2.5x equals y. Okay, now we have a number at the end, 0 meters. And you put meters is y. So 0 goes in for y. 665 plus negative 2.5x equals 0. So we have the x being times by negative 2.5, and we have a plus 665, so we minus 665. So 0 minus 665 is negative 665, and I've still got the negative 2.5 times x. And I divide both sides by negative 2.5. Okay, 266. So that's your answer. Okay. And then you have your assignment. Just do the best you can.